everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Debbie Lee here with the White Samurai Investment Group today. And today we're going to be diving into a topic that is absolutely foundational for anyone serious about building real wealth. So we will be covering how the working class people think about money versus how the wealthy actually think about money. So understanding this difference is the key to unlocking your financial potential, because let me just be honest with you as well. Money isn't the problem. It's how we relate to it. It's how we think about it and the stories that we've been taught about it since childhood. And over this past year, since I've been working at White Samurai, I have had the privilege of meeting and working with people from all walks of life. I've met single parents juggling multiple jobs, nurses, warehouse workers, young professionals, first-time business owners, retirees looking to finally grow their savings, and full-time traders, like literally the whole entire spectrum of everyone. And all across these different experiences, there was one consistent pattern. The way that someone thinks about money determines how much they grow, far more than how much they earn. This is not about intelligence. It's not about talent. It's not about how much effort that you put in. I have seen some of the hardest working, the absolute smartest intellectual people that I've ever met, but because their mindset was stuck, it just kept them in this trap of scarcity thinking. And I've seen others with just like average incomes explode their wealth simply just because their mindset is aligned with their growth. So let me paint you a picture. When I was growing up, I was surrounded by phrases like money doesn't grow on trees, investing is for the rich people, playing it safe is how you avoid everything, is how you avoid losing everything, and you have to go to school to get a job, like you don't break the norm, you have to stay in this particular box. So all of these quotes came from good intentions, but you know, like your family members and your parents and the people that just wanted to keep you safe. But here's the truth. These survival focused beliefs are not designed for building wealth. They're just designed for survival. They're just designed to keep you afloat. They teach you to protect what little you have so you avoid the risk, to fear the mistakes, and to accept limitation as normal. And when those beliefs aren't challenged, they quietly shape every financial decision that you make. From how you spend, how you save, how you invest, how you approach opportunities as well for growth. So in this video, we are going to be breaking down why working class money thinking keeps people stuck, why the idea that you need a lot of money to invest is a total myth, and why the thing that feels safest, playing it safe, is actually the riskiest financial move that you can make today. So these aren't just concepts or theories, these are real life patterns. I've seen clients and colleagues, and in my own journey from like a working class girl background to building wealth. If you have ever felt frustrated watching others grow their wealth while you feel stuck, despite working so hard, this video is for you. It may challenge your beliefs that you've held for your entire life. It may feel very uncomfortable, but growth begins where comfort ends. The moment that you start seeing money differently, thinking about it differently, and acting differently, your financial trajectory changes. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. So, take a deep breath and get comfy. Get a drink, pause this video, grab some snacks. It is a long one, but we will be breaking down mental patterns that keep the working class trapped and the mindset shifts that can put you on the path to financial freedom. And before we do that, as usual, I want to get into a little story. So I want to share you this story that kind of perfectly encapsulates the difference between working class money thinking and wealth building money thinking. This may seem like a very made up example, but it's based on real people that I've worked with and that I have experienced over this past year. And I've seen this pattern be repeated over and over and over again. It is so predictable. It's like literally I've written the steps down and it's the same thing every single time. So a few months ago I met two clients, we'll call them Tom and Daniel. So we were all around the same age and they were both earning, Tom and Dan were both earning roughly like the same salary, but they were also juggling the same responsibilities like rent, bills, kind of spending habits, loans, and like everything else, like family obligations, everything. But both told me that they wanted to start investing and build long-term wealth. On the surface, they seemed incredibly identical because that's what was happening on paper. But the way that they approached money could not have been any more different. So Tom was a working class pattern thinker. So the way that he thought about money came from his childhood. So he grew up in a place where money was always so tight and scarce. So conversations about money were mostly like in survival mode, trying to stretch all the bills. Managing emergencies was quite difficult, and avoiding debt at all costs. And he told me that from a young age, he learnt that money was scarce and unpredictable, and the more money that you had, the more vulnerable you felt because it felt like it needed to be going somewhere. But they also never had any money. So he came from a background where they had to save everything, they had to protect it and never risk it, put it out in the world. But when I asked Tom about like his fears around investing, he was like, I'm worried I'll lose little money I actually have. I can't afford to make mistakes like that. And this made complete sense to me. It wasn't ignorance, it was just conditioning. He had been taught that the safest way to approach any of money was to keep it in the bank, avoid risking it, and you had to work extremely hard for incremental gains. So investing seemed like gambling, and it seemed like it was a very foreign thing, so it was like quite scary, and they none of their family did that. So it seemed like a risk. And it was definitely something that he thought about that only rich people did. And it wasn't something that like he did. So when I introduced him to beginner-friendly investment strategies, taking small amounts consistently, contributing to low-risk funds, he nodded politely, but like I could see it deep down in his eyes that he didn't believe that it could work for him. His past experiences had trained him to expect scarcity, not growth. So over the next few months that I was with him, he delayed and he was hesitant and he actually never started. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the client. It's whether or not they actually, take the first step, and he just never did. It wasn't that he was lazy. He was just trapped in this negative mindset that was keeping him safe, but stagnant. Like his money wasn't actually growing. So now we compare Tom to Daniel. So Dan grew up in a similar working class background. He didn't come from wealth either, but from a young age, he was like definitely curious. He asked questions and sought out opportunities and absorbed financial knowledge wherever he could. When I spoke to him, he asked, what's the smallest amount I can start with today? How can I make sure that I am learning and growing while minimizing mistakes? So the difference between Tom and Dan, it wasn't that Dan wasn't waiting for the perfect moment. He also wasn't obsessed with avoiding mistakes. He understood that the key to building wealth wasn't about having a large sum up front. It was about starting with what he had and what he could consistently give to it. So Dan began investing small amounts, I can't remember what it was. It was like $50 weekly, I think. $50 per paycheck. So it wasn't like he was making these consciously. Everything was automated. So every week it was fully automated. It was nothing flashy, nothing like totally risky, but he was disciplined and he tracked his progress and he was educating himself and he made all the adjustments along the way. And within a couple of months, he grew his confidence. Like he understood what was happening and he could have like conversations about it. And then he began exploring side hustles and like additional investments. But everything was calculated and intentional. So it was around 6 months after that I met both of them. Dan and Tom were back in for a follow-up, and Tom had spent months waiting for the right time, but there never was a right time. He was just kind of frozen by fear and all of his conditioned beliefs. But Dan, on the other hand, he literally doubled all of investments and he had a growing safety cushion. It was small, but it was like more than what Tom had. It was consistent. And it was just also about his newfound confidence in managing his own finances. And here's the most important part. So his entire identity shifted as well. He no longer saw himself as someone who struggles with money. He saw himself as someone who builds wealth because that's what he was doing. And they started from literally very identical circumstances, the same income, the same responsibilities, the same age, but their results were just like worlds apart. The difference wasn't intelligence, like it wasn't anything that was like something that someone else could one up you on. It was just mindset. Dan changed his mindset, Tom didn't. So this story isn't about comparing people or like shaming anyone. I'm not shaming Tom. But it is about showing the financial outcomes that are determined by your mindset. And then because your mindset changes, all of the other actions change as well. So the working class mindset, all of the fears of risk and beliefs in scarcity and waiting for the perfect time or conditions keeps people trapped. The wealth building mindset, curiosity and being consistent and very calculated and intentional. So, and knowing risks do happen, but that's the key that opens the door to growth, even if you start small. So the lesson today that I want to kind of hone in on is you don't need to be born into wealth to think like the wealthy. You can become wealthy. You just need to recognize which patterns are keeping you stuck. You have to challenge them and you have to start building your financial identity one small, consistent step at a time. So that brings us to topic number 1. The myths about money that keep the working class poor. So when it comes to building wealth, actually I'll write that down. Money myths keep middle class poor. So when it comes to building wealth, most of the struggles that working class people face aren't about effort or intelligence or certainly the income. It's just about the beliefs and all of the stories that have been passed down from generations. These money myths quietly shape decisions that dictate behavior and create invisible barriers to growth. And today, I want to break down all of the myths that trap working class people and show you how wealthy people think differently. So, myth number 1, you need a lot of money to invest. And because you don't need lots of money. Nope. So this might be the most dangerous myth of all. When we were growing up, we were told that investing is for people with extra money to spare, or for people that are already rich that can already risk it all. But they also say, wait until you have $1,000, wait until you have $5,000 or $10,000 and then you can invest it. Maybe when you win the lottery, then you can invest it then. But that doesn't help. The truth of that is you don't need much money to start with. Modern platforms everywhere, they're so readily available. They allow you to begin with as little as $5 or $50. So fractional shares, ETFs, index funds, and micro investing apps have all made investing accessible to everyone. The wealthy understand that starting small, learning the rules, and staying consistent is far more effective than waiting to have enough. Waiting for the perfect condition is the trap that keeps most people stagnant. Small, consistent contributions compound over time. Starting now, if you do it now, even with if you've got $50, it'll create some momentum. It'll also create your confidence, and eventually it'll build financial growth. So, myth number 2, debt is always bad. This is an interesting one. Debt equals always bad. So, many of the working class households treat debt like the ultimate enemy. And of course, credit cards and payday loans and high interest debts are dangerous, but there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. So all of the bad debt that we are thinking of, all of the debt, the main debt that we're thinking of, I consider bad debt. So most of that is high interest borrowing that reduces net worth and traps you in a cycle of repayment. So excessive expenditure of credit cards or loans from high interest companies, they are examples of bad loans. But some good loans, what did I say? Bad loans. No, I meant bad debt, sorry. And good debt is referring to borrowing that builds wealth. So for an example, it might be the mortgage of a property that appreciates over time, as opposed to a loan for a brand new car that depreciates over time. A business loan to scale operations or a student loan that increases earning potential, those are all very good debts. And wealthy people use good debt strategically to create leverage while protecting their cash flow. So avoiding all debt, on the other hand, can mean missing opportunities or missing opportunities that grow net worth exponentially. So that brings us to myth number 3. Playing it safe is the safest choice. It ain't. And here's the ironic truth. The thing that feels the safest is often the riskiest. So staying in low paying jobs and never investing and keeping all your money in a basic savings account, this feels secure, but it's a slow path to financial stagnation. Wealthy people take calculated risk. They educate themselves, they diversify their investments, and they strategically step out of comfort zones. So safety in the short term often leads to vulnerability in the long term. The biggest risk isn't about taking the leap, it's never taking one at all. I have to write that one down. will remember to hold up these notes at the end of the video. Playing it safe is the safest choice. Playing it safe equals safest. So, number 4, making more money will solve everything. Just make more money. Nope. So, working class thinking often equates income with freedom, but if I said, if only I earned more, then say, I could save more, invest and build. But the reality of that is income alone doesn't create wealth. I've met people making just barely over 70,000, 80,000 per year. But even if these people were earning way less, like living literally paycheck to paycheck, without any systems, any habits, any financial education, higher earnings simply fuel higher spending. Wealth is about strategy, consistency, and mindset, not just a bigger paycheck. So, number 5, I'm too busy to learn about money. Why? Why are you too busy to learn about money? Isn't that why you're so busy? You're so busy because you're trying to earn more money. But you want to work smarter, not harder. And this is another common trap. So, too busy to learn. The working class people often work quite a couple of jobs, huge, ridiculous, insane hours, and they juggle all of these crazy responsibilities. And the brain is naturally telling you, I don't have any time to read the books, watch any videos, or even like learn about investing. How do I don't have time. I only have barely any time to eat and sleep. Can't be doing this. But wealthy people don't treat financial education as an option. It's a priority. And this is why these people are wealthy. It is, even if it's like 15 or 30 minutes per day, studying money, investing, or business compounds over time, just like money does. Knowledge replaces fear. Knowledge reduces mistakes, and knowledge builds confidence to take small, consistent steps that create long-term wealth. Myth number 6. I have to follow the traditional path, like go to school, get a stable job, work for 50,000 years and then retire and then die. Nope, you also don't have to do that either. Trad way of life. The traditional paths feel safe because our society frames them as secure, but this approach can keep people in a cycle of survival rather than a cycle of growth. Wealthy people often create alternative income streams, side hustles and businesses and investments alongside their main work. They don't rely solely on their salary. They rely on multiple engines of wealth. The myth of the traditional path reinforces comfort over risk, stagnation over growth, and challenging it is essential if you want to break generational cycles. So, the root of all of these myths are, at their core, these myths are built on fear and scarcity thinking. They are inherited beliefs reinforced by experience and culture, and while these beliefs may have helped families survive in tough financial circumstances, they don't work for building wealth. They just help the wealth stay where it is, and that's it. So changing these beliefs require intentional effort. So you want to, number one, awareness. So you want to recognize the myths that influence your decisions. Number two, education. You want to replace the fear with knowledge and strategies used by wealthy people. Number three, start small, take calculated risks, and track your progress. Number four, consistency is key. Wealth is built over time, not overnight. And the key takeaway from this topic is the working class mindset is full of limiting beliefs, myths that make wealth feel impossible. Pardon me. Wealthy people don't have more luck or higher IQs. They think differently, act differently, and question all of these myths. If you want to build wealth, the first step is rewriting your money beliefs. Challenge these beliefs, educate yourself, take small steps, but that is how you want to change your financial life. So this brings us to topic number 2, the biggest lie. You need a lot of money to invest. Now, that was one of the myths that kept working class people poor, but it's a very big topic. So if there is one myth that keeps the working class from building real wealth, it's that you need a lot of money to invest. And I don't know where that stemmed from, but this lie is everywhere. It's so casual. It's like literally, it feels like common knowledge because it's so common. It's everywhere. It's in media, it's in, I don't know, it feels like it's supposed to be helpful, but it's dangerous because it stops people before they even start. So let me explain why this is a myth and how wealthy people think about it differently. So let me just write this down. Need lots of money to start investing. Equals wrong. So, why does society love this statement? Well, I guess think about it, Telling people they need thousands to invest keeps the majority of the population stuck in survival mode. It creates an illusion that wealth is reserved for the privileged few. It reinforces the idea that your only options are you have to work hard and you have to just scrape by and hope for retirement, or you have to wait until you have enough to invest, which in reality may even never come. This lie isn't just unhelpful, it's strategic in a way. It preserves the status quo. The wealthy grow wealth because they understand how to start small and then compound consistently and leverage all of these resources over time. But the truth is, you can start small. Humans haven't evolved so far in advance that this isn't available for everyone. Modern technology has completely shattered the you need a lot of money to start investing myth. The micro investing apps allow you to invest with as little as like $5, and it's fully automated. There's no minimum balances, there isn't any kind of like membership, it's not an exclusive club either. Fractional shares. So instead of buying an entire share of a company like Amazon or Tesla, you can buy a fraction of it, like meaning a small amount can get you into the biggest companies in the world. And another one like that is an index fund or an ETF, exchange trade funds. So diversification is accessible with very little money. You don't need to pick individual stocks or have insider knowledge. The point is, starting small consistently is more powerful than waiting to start big. Compound growth works regardless of starting amount. The wealthy understand a principle that most of the working class people ignore. Time and consistency matter far more than the size of your first investment. So as an example, if you invest $20 per 10 weeks for the next 10 years in a simple index fund, averaging like 7% annual, your total contribution is around like $10,500. But due to compounding, that money grows to nearly 16.5 without even touching anything. Imagine if you waited until you had $5,000 before you started investing. You would have delayed all of those prior years of compound interest and missed out on tens of thousands of dollars in potential growth. The math is like literally so simple and so clear, but the working class often ignore it because it's scary and like fear-inducing. So the psychology of waiting to invest. Most people delay investing because they're waiting for the perfect conditions. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I understand everything perfectly. I'll start next year when I have more free time. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. You just have to do it quickly. You just have to do it. You have to like rip it off like a band-aid. Waiting for the ideal conditions is a trap disguised as caution. Wealthy people don't wait. They start where they are, with what they have, and they just adjust it along the way. They understand that starting is way more important than starting perfectly. Small beginnings build confidence. So, starting small isn't about money, it's about trusting yourself. Many of the working class individuals are afraid to invest because of the fear of mistakes or losing all their money. But when you start small, very small, manageable amounts, you end up learning the process. And you develop these habits and you build your confidence in making decisions. So all of these small wins compound emotionally and financially. Just like Daniel, he started with, what was it, $20 a week. And within a couple of months, he felt more than comfortable enough and confident enough to increase his amount and explore other investment opportunities. So his mindset shifted from I can't to I can do more. I've already grown this one. What the hell? Let's keep going. I can grow this. The wealthy mindset around small investments. So here's what separates wealthy people from most of the working class people. They understand that small investments are not insignificant. They know that consistency beats size. They focus on systems over luck. They understand that knowledge compounds like money. Each small investment teaches them lessons about markets, about the risks and strategy. Where a working class mindset says, I don't have enough money to invest. A wealthy mindset says, I will start with what I have and I'll grow from there. That's funny. The opportunity cost of waiting. So every day that you delay investing is a day lost of compounding. That's the hidden cost of believing you need to start with a lot. The inflation slowly erodes the value of cash sitting idle. Markets reward those who entered earlier and stayed consistent. And habits and confidence build faster than money itself. Waiting only delays both. So, Deb, stop talking. What are all the actions that I can do? How do I do it now? Quickly. You want to 1, start with what you can afford. Even if it's like $5 per week from your paycheck, you want to automate this $5 so you set it and then forget it. So you want to remove the temptation to forget to do this or to delay it. And 3, you want to make sure that you are allowing yourself to update your knowledge. So you want to learn about index funds, you want to learn about ETFs and fractional shares, and all of the knowledge reduces fear. So then you consistently show up for yourself by educating yourself. 4, focus on consistency, not size. So show up every week, no matter how small you do it. And number 5, make sure that you track progress. So watching small wins compound builds momentum and confidence. And all the key takeaways from this topic is the biggest lie keeping working class people from investing is the belief that you need huge sums of money upfront to get into it. But that's not how it happens most of the time. Wealthy people start small, they trust the process, they educate themselves as they go, and they let time and consistency compound their gains. Your financial journey doesn't depend on how much you start with, it depends on whether you start at all. So, this brings us to topic number 3. Why playing it safe is the riskiest thing that you can do. When most of the working class people think about money, playing it safe is seen as the ultimate strategy. Keep your head down, don't rock the boat, don't spend everything, you have to save it, you have to put it all away in a bank, you have to avoid all of the risks. at all costs. But on the surface, it seems smart, right? You want to keep all your money that you worked for. But after all, risk is scary. Money is finite, and one mistake can feel catastrophic. But the truth of the matter is, the safest seeming financial choice is often the riskiest in the long term. Because, number one, inflation is stealing your money. The risk of playing it safe is invisible inflation. Most working class individuals keep money in basic savings accounts or under mattresses, like in their safe at home, thinking that they are just protecting their money. But over time is gonna progress either way. If you like it or not, time keeps going. So either way, inflation is slowly eroding the purchasing power of cash over time. So what does that mean, Deb? What does that mean? For example, if your savings account pays 1% interest, oh my God, and your inflation is 5%, your money is effectively losing 4% in value every year. That's quite a lot. So over 10 to 20 years, this becomes a huge loss. Wealthy people understand that risk is relative. Leaving money idle is guaranteed slow loss. Even if it doesn't feel like it, technically, inflation it's the same amount of money, but it's not worth the same value. So leaving money idle is guaranteed a slow loss. Investing, even moderately, protects against inflation while creating growth potential. Number two, career stagnation and opportunity costs. So playing it safe often extends beyond money. It affects careers, it affects skills and income opportunities as well. So staying in a quote unquote secure job and never negotiating for more pay, avoiding promotions because of the fear of being rejected or the fear of failure, these are all forms of playing it safe. Wealthy people think differently. They take calculated risks with their careers as well. They pursue promotions, they start side hustles, and they invest in skills that increase earning potential as well. While it may feel risky in the short term, avoiding these opportunities guarantees stagnation. Like, think about it. Every opportunity you avoid because fear is a mischance of growth. Safety feels good now, but at what cost? Costs exponentially later. Number three, emotional and psychological risk. There is another type of risk that often gets overlooked: the mental toll of playing it safe. Fear-driven financial decisions create chronic stress, anxiety, and regret. Living in constant avoidance mode, afraid to invest, afraid to negotiate, afraid to take the leap is exhausting. It's so exhausting. The emotional cost is high. Sleepless nights, fear of emergency things happening, constant comparison to others who are growing financially. Wealthy people mitigate risk by educating themselves, taking calculated action. Calculated risk reduces emotional strain because it shifts control from external circumstances to proactive choices. Number 4, the compounding effect of taking calculated risks. Here is the power of risk that becomes clear. Taking small, calculated risks consistently compounds faster than staying safe. Investing in small amounts in diversified portfolios grow wealth over time. Starting a side hustle, even part-time, compounds skills and income potential. Negotiating higher pay consistently multiplies lifetime earnings. These are not reckless moves, they are just calculated risks with predictable outcomes. Staying in a safe zone guarantees slow incremental growth at best, or at worst, total financial stagnation. So, number 5, the myth of safe jobs and income. Many people think that staying in a stable job is risk-free. Pardon me. But let's break that down. Job security is no longer guaranteed. Companies downsize, industries change, and inflation erodes salaries. Being safe in a low growth position limits income potential for life. Relying solely on a paycheck is inherently risky because if something happens to that job, there's nothing to fall back on. The wealthy know that diversification of income and assets is the real safety net. They don't rely on one source of money, they create multiple streams that grow even if one fails. So, some real life examples. I will share with you 2 real world examples that I have seen among multiple clients. So, let's call one of the clients client A. So client A played it safe. They kept all of their money in a savings account, refused to invest, never explored side income. 10 years later, the money had lost purchasing power, career income was stagnant, and financial stress remained constant. Client B, on the other hand, took calculated risks, started investing small, learnt about EFTs, experimented with some side hustles, and invested in personal growth. And 10 years later, client B had a growing investment portfolio, additional income streams, and the confidence to make bigger financial moves. Both started in a very similar circumstance, but the difference was risk approach. Risk done intentionally is far safer in the long term than playing it safe. So, how to take calculated risks without feeling overwhelmed. You want to educate yourself first. Knowledge reduces fear. Learn basic investing, personal finance, business strategies. Start small. You don't need to bet the house. Small, consistent moves adds up. As I've said so many times over this video. Number 3, diversify. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's what that means. Spread your investments and your income streams and your skills. Number 4, track results. Pardon me, it's been a long day. Consistent monitoring ensures that you adjust before mistakes compound. Number 5, build a safety cushion. Have some savings for emergencies because things happen. This reduces all of the emotional stress and allows for risk taking. So, the key mindset shift, the ultimate mindset shift, oh my god, I can't even pronounce that. mindset shift is realizing that risk and safety are relative, but not absolute. What feels safe today might create vulnerability tomorrow. What feels risky may be the most stable strategy long term. Wealthy people embrace risk intelligently, not recklessly, because they understand the power of compounding, opportunity, and control over their financial future. So, as a takeaway, playing it safe is the working class trap disguised as wisdom. It protects you from short-term fear, but guarantees long-term stagnation and vulnerability. True safety comes from knowledge, calculated risk, and consistent action. To grow wealth, you must embrace risk intelligently, start small, and build over time. So, as a summary of the entire video, working class money myths, fear of starting small, and overvaluing playing it safe keep many people stuck. Wealthy people think differently. They start now, they take calculated risks, and they build consistent habits over time. Your financial life is shaped first by your mindset and beliefs, and then by your actions. Small, consistent steps compound into real wealth, and the sooner that you start, the faster you can grow. So this brings us to the end of the video, and I just want to say, if this video resonated with you, let me know. And if you're ready to break free from working class money thinking, the White Samurai Investment Group is here to guide you. We teach practical strategies to build wealth, even if you're starting from scratch. Investing small amounts, creating multiple income streams, and developing a mindset that attracts opportunities. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Start taking small, intelligent steps today and watch your financial future transform. Thank you for making this far, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, where I discuss everything on the financial freedom journey. I talk money mindset and practical strategies to grow your wealth. Please check out the White Samurai Investment Group, and they also have a YouTube channel for all of the guidance and tools and support to start building wealth confidently. And remember, mindset is everything. Your financial future depends on how you think, how you learn, and how you act today. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.